person. Before we can begin our formal agenda this evening, we do have some business to conduct. As you recall, we did have a municipal election a few weeks ago on April 6th, and at that time, a village president and 4 trustees were elected or re-elected. And so before we can begin our meeting tonight, we do need to swear in both a village president and 4 trustees. So we will start with the village president swearing in, and that will be conducted by our village clerk, Becky Hume. Becky, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and state your name.
I, Thomas W. Hayes.
Having been elected.
Having been elected.
To the office of village president.
To the office of village president.
In the village of Arlington Heights.
In the village of Arlington Heights.
In the county of Cook.
In the county of Cook.
Do solemnly swear and affirm.
Do solemnly swear and affirm.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
And the Constitution of the State of Illinois.
And the Constitution of the State of Illinois.
And I will faithfully discharge.
And I will faithfully discharge.
The duties of the office.
The duties of the office.
According to the best of my ability.
According to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Becky. Well, I just want to say a couple of words before I have the privilege of swearing in our 4 trustees here this evening. That is the 9th time that I have taken that oath of office as either trustee or as village president. And so I'm very humbled to have the support of this community for now 30 years. We have a great community, a great village board, a great staff, and great other local governmental bodies that really operate very effectively as a team. And I think that really speaks to why Arlington Heights has been such a success over the years. I'm very proud of our reputation as a family-oriented, business-friendly community that is welcoming to all that want to live, work, or play here. And so that is my goal in the next 4 years, to do that and to look out for the health, safety, and welfare of all of our residents and businesses. In collaboration with my colleagues on the village board, I'm very much looking forward to working with our new trustees and all of the village board as we move forward with the common goal of maintaining and enhancing our quality of life here in Arlington Heights, which I always say is second to none. So again, I just want to thank all of those who've supported me over the years, my family, my wife Sue, my son Tim, my daughter Tara, and all of those who've continued to support me in my time of public service. I've just been blessed to be able to serve this community for now 30 years. I look forward very much to the next 4 years as well, so thank you all. I would now like to swear in Trustee Rich Baldino, and we'll take the new trustees in alphabetical order. So Rich, if you're ready, if you'd raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and state your full name.
I, Richard Allen Baldino.
Having been elected to the office of village trustee.
Having been elected to the office of village trustee.
In the county of Cook.
In the county of Cook.
Do solemnly swear and affirm.
Do solemnly swear and affirm.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
And the Constitution of the State of Illinois.
And the Constitution of the State of Illinois.
And that I will faithfully discharge the duties.
And that I will faithfully discharge the duties.
According to the best of my ability.
According to the best of my ability.
Well, congratulations, Rich. We know you will. And the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. You know, I mentioned this before, but when the Daily Herald published their article about the trustee candidates that described me as being not flashy and nuts and bolts practical, I had a bit of a Prince Humperdinck moment there, and I was a little put out when I first read that, if I'm totally honest. But my nature is to analyze things, and my training as a scientist is to reevaluate new data as it comes in. And upon reflection, that was a pretty accurate description of me that the Daily Herald had. And so with that in mind, I am honored and humbled that the residents of Arlington Heights have seen fit to elect this no-frills, down-to-earth scientist to a second term as village trustee. With that in mind, I pledge to bring all of my hardware to bear in making the village of Arlington Heights a better, more sustainable community for everyone that lives, works, runs a business, or visits this wonderful place we call home. I'd like to take a moment to say some thank yous. First of all, to the Sierra Club and to Paul Culhane in particular for his assistance during the campaign, the Daily Herald and the Journal and Topics, and the Firefighters Union for their endorsements. Current trustees, Mary Beth Canty, Robin LaBedz, and Tom Schwingbeck, and now former trustees, Greg Padovani and Bert Rosenberg, as well as Mayor Tom Hayes for their support during my campaign. I'd also like to say thank you to current school district board members Anisha Patel and Arlen Gould, and Deb Smart, Arlington Heights Memorial Library board member. Thank you to all those folks for their support during my candidacy. I'd also like to thank my fellow candidates for the village board for a great campaign and some lively discussions that we had. Next, I'd like to thank the tireless volunteers and supporters that helped me out during my campaign. There were too many to name them all, but there were a few who I wanted to thank publicly here. The first one is Dawn Frenzel, who is quite literally a campaign warrior and was so helpful. I'd also like to thank Jean Wood, Marianne O'Toole, Nancy Eberhardt, Cheryl and Bruce Anderson, and Mark Michaels. A special thank you goes out also to Jen Neville and to Larry Johnson for taking on the unenviable task of being my treasurer during the campaign. I'd like to thank my family for their support and encouragement. And first, my folks, Bob and Georgianne, who drove all the way to Arlington Heights this evening from Lakewood to see me get sworn in person. Thank you for your support. I'd like to thank my son, Robbie, for moving out. My daughter, Grace, for her help in social media. I can't be considered an expert in social media in any way, shape, or form. I still don't know what it is that she does on Bookspace, and I don't know that I really want to know, but it was a great help that she gave to the campaign. I'd also like to thank my wife, Mary Kay, for her support and encouragement and her ability to be my editor for all the things that I was writing for during the campaign. Finally, I would like to thank my campaign managers. Early in January, when it became apparent that my wife didn't have the time necessary to devote to the campaign, I had a minor panic moment. And I am so grateful that Jack Lockhart and Austin Medrick volunteered to help run my campaign, and their calm demeanor, their experience, and their flexibility was instrumental in making this a successful campaign. And I'm truly grateful for their willingness to donate their time after hours to coordinate all these campaign efforts. Thank you once again.
Thanks, Rich, and again, congratulations. Next is James Bertucci. All right, Jim, if you raise your right hand. And if repeat after me. I, and state your full name.
I, James J. Bertucci,
Having been elected to the office of village trustee
having been elected to the office of village trustee
in the village of Arlington Heights,
in the village of Arlington Heights,
in the county of Cook,
in the county of Cook,
do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office according to the best of my ability.
of the office according to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations, Jim, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Tom. I just want to take a moment to thank all those who certainly helped me on my campaign. They know who they are. I'm not going to take the time to name everybody individually, but certainly the family and friends who have supported me and helped me along the way have been not only of helping getting me elected, but also of keeping me so-called, focused on getting through the election part of it. I want to thank certainly Tom Hayes, our mayor, our current and former village trustees, most importantly, the residents of Arlington Heights who voted for me, and even those who didn't vote for me. I'm ready to go to work. I'm ready to represent the full village and all the residents. Finally, I'd like to also obviously thank my significant other, Jennifer, who certainly provided unconditional love and support for me running for village trustee, and has pledged her unconditional love and support during my time serving. So thank you to all, and reporting for duty, sir.
Thanks, Jim. Congratulations. Next is Nicole Grassi. Nicole, you ready?
Yes, I am, Mayor.
Okay, if you'd raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and state your full name,
I, Nicole Grassi,
having been elected to the office of village trustee
having been elected to the office of village trustee
in the village of Arlington Heights,
in the village of Arlington Heights,
in the county of Cook,
in the county of Cook,
do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office according to the best of my ability.
of the office according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, Nicole, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I truly remain humbled and honored to be elected to be a voice for all of the people and businesses in Arlington Heights as your trustee. Thank you very much. I am grateful for the support of my family and my friends and my new friends I made during this election campaign, my volunteers and endorsers. I could not have done any of this without all of them. Thank you. A favorite quote of mine is from Helen Keller. She said, "Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much." And for the next 4 years, I look forward to the many different ways we can work together to find just, equitable, and inclusive solutions that will benefit all of us and our future together in Arlington Heights. I look forward to all that we can accomplish together for us here in this village. I'm really excited. Thank you for the honor.
All right, thanks, Nicole. Congratulations again. Next, and last but not least, is Jim Tinaglia. Jim, you ready? And I see he's raising his right hand. So, Jim, if you'd repeat after me. I, and state your full name,
I, James Joseph Tinaglia,
having been elected to the office of village trustee
having been elected to the office of village trustee
in the village of Arlington Heights,
in the village of Arlington Heights,
in the county of Cook,
in the county of Cook,
do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office according to the best of my ability.
of the office according to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations, Jim. We know you will, and the floor is yours.
Thanks, Mayor. So it's been 8 years. I've had a wonderful, wonderful experience serving so far. I'm delighted to have another run at it for the next 4 years. There's so much to do. There's so many wonderful things amongst on our fingertips here with Arlington Park happening and so many, getting out of COVID. I'm thrilled to be a part of this with all of you. This is a wonderful board, brilliant people with all good, bright minds and ready for action. Jim Bertucci's reporting for duty. What more could you ask for? We're all here together. It's wonderful. I feel blessed just to be in this town. Was raised here. My wife was raised here. My business is here. We raised our children here. This is a wonderful place, and I'm just thankful to be a part of it. To be here with you guys, representing 76,000 people who really do care about the community that they live in. I have one goal always, and I teach my children the same thing. Leave it better than you found it. And that's my goal here, always is. Make this place better than it was when we first got here. So together, I know we'll do it. Thanks for allowing me to serve with you guys.
Thanks, Jim, and congratulations again. All right, now that we are official, the first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you'd all please rise and join the new village board in reciting the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice.
Justice for all.
All right, would the clerk please call a roll?
Trustee LaBedz,
Here.
Trustee Scaletta,
Here.
Trustee Bertucci,
Here.
Trustee Grassi,
Here.
Trustee Tinaglia,
Here.
Trustee Canty,
Here.
Trustee Baldino,
Here.
Trustee Schwingbeck,
Here.
President Hayes.
Here. First item on the agenda is the approval of minutes, and we've got two sets to approve tonight. The first is from the committee of the whole meeting from April 5th, 2021, and it would be appropriate for the two new trustees to pass on these two items, approval of minutes. But I do need to ask if there are any changes or other passes besides Trustee Grassi and Bertucci. Any changes or passes? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
Move
Approval. So moved.
All right, motion by Trustee Canty, seconded by Trustee LaBedz. Roll call.
Trustee Canty,
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz,
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck,
Yes.
Trustee Bertucci, I'm going to mark you as a pass.
Passed.
Trustee Tinaglia,
Yes.
Trustee Grassi,
Yes.
Trustee Scaletta,
Yes.
Trustee Baldino,
Yes.
President Hayes.
Yes, and Becky, and Trustee Grassi should be a pass as well,
Yes.
right? And then the village board meeting minutes on April 19th, 2021. Passes for Trustee Grassi and Trustee Bertucci. Any other changes or passes?
Move approval.
Second.
Motion to approve by Trustee Tinaglia, seconded by Trustee LaBedz. Roll call.
Trustee Tinaglia,
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz,
Yes.
Trustee Baldino,
Yes.
Trustee Canty,
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck,
Yes.
Trustee Scaletta,
Yes.
President Hayes.
Yes. Next is the approval of the accounts payable, and I need a volunteer. Trustee Scaletta.
Thank you, Mayor. I would move to approve the warrant register dated April 30th in the amount of $893,898.
Second.
Second.
It is more difficult than you think when you start seeing all those numbers.
Yes.
Motion by Trustee Scaletta, and who was the second? Trustee
Second.
Schwingbeck. Let's give it to Trustee Schwingbeck. Any questions or comments from the board or from the audience? Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee Scaletta,
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck,
Yes.
Trustee Grassi,
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz,
Yes.
Trustee Baldino,
Yes.
Trustee Bertucci,
Yes.
Trustee Canty,
Yes.
Trustee Tinaglia,
Yes.
President Hayes.
Yes. We move on then to recognitions and presentations, and we do have a special recognition tonight. And Dave Perullo, I saw your shining face there a little bit earlier, so if you'd make yourself visible. There you go.
Mayor, there we go. The mayor, I've been blocked off. I'm sorry. The house will need to enable me.
All right, I can hear you, and just make yourself visible if you would.
Mayor, the host has me turned off at the moment. I'm sorry.
Okay, there you go. Now we're good to go. You were invading our screen previously.
I probably was.
So thank you for joining us tonight, Dave. Dave is a very special person, not only in Arlington Heights, but in the Northwest suburban region. Dave Perullo was the president and CEO of the Meet Chicago Northwest Convention and Visitors Bureau since 2010, and started with the Greater Woodfield Convention and Visitors Bureau in 2007 as the Director of Partnership and Business Development. During that time, the Meet Chicago Northwest Convention Bureau achieved many distinctions and awards for being the best CVB in Illinois, or in Chicagoland at least, in 2017 and 2019. And a large part of that was due to Dave Perullo's leadership. He's also served in other capacities. He was the chair-elect of the Illinois Council of Convention and Visitors Bureau, and also has served both the Village of Arlington Heights and the Village of Schaumburg in our Economic Alliance for a period of 6 years, and the Schaumburg Business Development Commission. During his time at Meet Chicago Northwest, Dave was recognized as Business Leader of the Year by the Rolling Meadows Chamber of Commerce, and twice nominated for Business Leader of the Year by the Arlington Heights Chamber of Commerce. So it's clear that Dave was a very valuable person to all of the communities that he served in his capacity as president of the Meet Chicago Northwest Bureau. So Dave, we just can't thank you enough for all that you have done, not just for our village, in ensuring that we are a destination for many, not just in the Chicagoland area, but around the country and around the world. And in all the communities you serve, you have done just a great job of attracting people to this area and really helping us develop our economic vitality and maintaining that over many, many years now. So in recognition of your service to the Village of Arlington Heights, we wanted to present you with a certificate of recognition that I've got here. And let me just read it briefly. To Dave Perullo, for your 6 years of service to the Arlington Economic Alliance and leadership of Meet Chicago Northwest since 2010. As a member of the Arlington Economic Alliance and as president and CEO of Meet Chicago Northwest, your tireless efforts on behalf of both Arlington Heights and other Northwest suburban communities you served have been instrumental to our economic well-being. Your passion and dedication to your mission of promoting our many hotels, attractions, and restaurants have contributed greatly to their individual success and to the overall reputation of our communities and our region as popular destinations for those coming from all over the country and, as I said, sometimes around the world. So this certificate is therefore presented to you in appreciation of your many years of dedicated service on behalf of the Village of Arlington Heights, and we wish you nothing but the best in all of your future endeavors. Dave, I also want to present you with a village coin, which is presented to only very special people. And so we will find a way to get this to you, hopefully before you leave for the Pacific Northwest, which is your destination of you and your family. But we're very honored to present you with this very meaningful coin, which is only given to people who have contributed greatly to the Village of Arlington Heights or distinguished visitors. And so congratulations again. Thank you for all you've done for the Village of Arlington Heights. Before I give you a chance to say a few words, I wanted just to recognize Trustee John Scaletta, who has served with you as on the board of directors for Meet Chicago Northwest for a number of years now as Arlington Heights representative, and has known you and your contributions for many years. So Trustee Scaletta.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for the opportunity to serve on Meet Chicago Northwest on behalf of the Village of Arlington Heights. It was many years ago when this village board was very concerned about the visibility of Arlington Heights, and back then it was named the Woodfield Convention Bureau, or Greater Woodfield, and there was a lot of concern by the village board that we weren't being represented as much as Schaumburg was. And Dave, instead of sulking, he rolled up his sleeves and worked with the board of Meet Chicago Northwest to not only rename the Tourism Bureau, but also worked to provide us with the metrics so that we could see exactly what Meet Chicago Northwest was doing to promote Arlington Heights. In addition to that, he's worked with his staff tirelessly to provide additional marketing pieces and make sure that Arlington is represented as much as every other town that Meet Chicago Northwest does. For example, there's these flyers that it's a brochure with all of the dining that we have in Arlington Heights with maps on the back that are provided to all the hotels in Arlington Heights to make sure that when people come to Arlington Heights, that they stay in Arlington Heights and that they spend their money in our downtown and throughout the village. And these are also sent out to those organizers who are trying to find a way to bring business to the Northwest region. And when they send out their visitor's guide, Arlington Heights is featured inside the visitor's guide. So I can't thank Dave enough for making sure that the village of Arlington Heights is well represented by Meet Chicago Northwest. Dave's leadership has been incredible over the years, and he has done an awful lot for our region, and we owe him our thanks. Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, John. Very well said. Dave, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor Hayes. Thank you, Trustee Scaletta, for service on Meet Chicago Northwest. I'm truly touched, and for multiple reasons. As Trustee Scaletta mentioned, when I started my tenure with Meet Chicago Northwest, and the first time I came before this body, it was a bit touchy presentation, and it became our mission at the Bureau to show value to the organization and to show a return on investment. I must say I've been warmly embraced by the business community in Arlington Heights, by village staff who I both admire and respect, by a very thoughtful board the village of Arlington Heights has. It's been my pleasure to go from my first touchy relationship, I would say, to recognize it as being a contributor to the vitality of the Northwest. I'm leaving with really bittersweet memories. I'm not running from anything. We're running with the opportunity to promote a region near Portland for the next step for my career. But I'm really floored with the recognition tonight, and I just want to say thank you and nothing but the best for the future for.
Well, Dave, thank you again for your contributions and your comments here this evening. And again, we wish you nothing but the best in your new position, and enjoy the wet weather out in the Portland area. But it's a beautiful area, so I know you're going to do great things out there, as you did here in Arlington Heights and the Northwest Suburban region. So good luck, and thanks again.
Thank you all.
All right, take care. All right, we have one other recognition that's not on the agenda this evening. That was a reminder from Trustee LaBedz. And so, Robin, I would call on you at this time.
Thank you, Mayor Hayes. For many years, the first week in May has been known as, designated as National Public Service Recognition Week. And it's a time to recognize and thank employees of government at all levels, federal, state, and local levels. It would be an understatement to say this past year has been like none other. And our employees at the Village of Arlington Heights, from the village manager on down, have all risen to the occasion and deserve our thanks and recognition during this week. And I'm sure my fellow board members join me in thanking the entire village staff for all that they do, all that they've done, they do, and will continue to do in the future. So thank you during this week and beyond.
Trustee LaBedz, thank you. Very well said. And let me add my thanks as well.
Thank you.
All right, if there are no other recognitions and presentations, we'll move on then to citizens to be heard. And there was one item that needs to be read into the record here this evening. So I would call on our village clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. This letter came from Stanley Wierzyński, and I believe he is on the call, and I'm happy to read his letter, but if he wishes to speak himself, I thought we should provide that opportunity to him.
Okay, yes, Mr. Wierzyński, are you there? Okay, I see you're there. And just a reminder for you and others who might want to talk to the board on items not on the agenda, we do have a 3-minute time limit. And so if you just respect that guideline, we would appreciate it. So go ahead, Mr. Wierzyński. If you could unmute yourself.
You're still muted, Mr. Wierzyński.
Yeah, Mr. Wierzyński, you just need to unmute yourself if you could.
Okay, I see that, okay.
Yeah, there you go. We got you.
Okay, what I was saying is, please read the letter. It's about 200 words, so I'll take up my 3 minutes with the letter reading by Ms. Hume.
Okay, we'll go ahead and read the letter into the record then. Go ahead, Becky.
Okay, I have an issue with my financial swab account was attacked. It was in very large amount, and I stopped it before this individual completed the transfer to his account. Case number 20-13556 was assigned to Sergeant Blevins. Police department acted with great amount of neglect and ignored my wish to issue report for a long time. I persisted and continued on now for 7 months, and I received the report on April 20th. However, the report is incomplete because the known name and residence of this potential criminal is known, and there's also an erroneous statement there to be corrected. I asked Records, Farrington and Schmidt, to send it to the author of this report to update and correct it. It is Sergeant Blevins, I'm sure, or his department. I sent him an email and he did not respond again. This is why I turned to Village Board. I would like the village police to forward this record to FBI and or to police authority of residence of this individual and let them decide what to do. But I don't like the fact that Sergeant Blevins acted as a judge. When investigator Carey at Charles Schwab called Sergeant Blevins to provide name and residence address of this computer hacker, his calls along with phone messages were not returned. He called me and complained about the lack of communications. I followed up, but Sergeant Blevins did not respond. This is why the name and address of this perpetrator does not appear in the report. Why do these departments, police and records, don't respond to requests? Why phone calls from investigator Carey at Charles Schwab were not answered? Why there is no organization chart available online for the police department? I had to get Sergeant B's supervisor's name from Officer Anderson while writing warning citation on my block. When will my request for investigation of this assigned case 20-13556 be completed, since I need it to take further action against this individual who has been identified by Bank of America and Charles Schwab? If FBI or out-of-state police department will decline to pursue this against this potential criminal, I may need to take legal action since he has caused me anxiety and abated security. I asked for complete report of known investigated information, not judgment from Sergeant B that Cook County District Attorney will not prosecute this case. This is for proper authority to decide, and case report is essential and necessary. Regards, Stan Wierzyński.
Okay, thank you, Becky. All right, I know the staff, including our village manager, have had a number of interactions with Mr. Wierzyński before this evening, so I would call on Mr. Recklaus to address that.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. That's correct. There has been a fair amount of correspondence with Mr. Rosinski over the past few months. And to kind of clarify this, there was an attempt at, theft with Mr. Rosinski. The person who engaged in the attempted theft lived in the city of, the attempted theft took place in the city of Minneapolis. And so this would not be a case, we would not be the place where the attempted theft occurred. We did explain that to Mr. Rosinski. We forwarded the information that we had to the Minneapolis Police Department in a letter. We did inform Mr. Rosinski about that. In terms of the information, because it's not, we wouldn't be the lead agency on this. We encourage Mr. Rosinski to speak with the Minneapolis Police Department on this, because we just simply don't have any jurisdiction. When Mr. Rosinski wrote us last week or a week before, I did give him a call and spoke with him at length about it. And I know Chief Pecora spoke with him again today, and Commander Pinello did attempt to reach him. I'm not sure if he was successful at the end of last week, and we were able to obtain some of the information he was requesting from Charles Schwab to forward to him. We were told by Charles Schwab that was information that was provided to him a while back. But we know that these situations can be, challenging. It is a difficult thing to be a victim of this type of crime, and certainly something that would be upsetting for anyone. But unfortunately, it's not a case that we can prosecute because the attempted crime just did not take place in our jurisdiction. And so that's kind of where things stand. And I'm happy to talk to Mr. Rosinski again. If you would like, tomorrow or whenever.
Okay, thank you for that update, Mr. Recklaus. All right, are there any other members of the audience who wish to address the village board on an item not on the agenda? Melissa Kayer. Melissa, go ahead.
Hello, the Cook County Clerk website has a candidate profile section that is helpful for the voters.
Okay, is that it, Melissa?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the board on an item not on the agenda? All right, seeing none, we will close out citizens to be heard and move on in the agenda to old business, and there is none. So we'll move on then to the consent agenda. And the first question is whether or not any trustees would like to remove an item on the consent agenda. Any members of the audience wish to remove an item on the consent agenda? Seeing none, any members of the board wish to vote no or pass on any item on the consent agenda? Trustee Canty.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion to approve the items on the consent agenda by Trustee Canty, seconded by Trustee Baldino. Any questions or comments from the board or from the audience? Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee Canty,
Yes.
Trustee Baldino,
Yes.
Trustee Scaletta,
Yeah.
Trustee LaBedz,
Yes.
Trustee Grassi,
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck,
Yes.
Trustee Tinaglia,
Yes.
Trustee Bertucci,
Yes.
President Hayes.
Yes. Moving on then to new business, we do have one item to consider. That's a final plat of subdivision for the Greenbrier Detention Pond located at the northeast corner of Cambridge Street and Yale Avenue on the north side of Arlington Heights. Mr. Recklaus, you want to start with this? Or are we going right
Sure.
to Mr. Perkins?
I can
Okay.
take it. This relates to the Greenbrier Roanoke series of public improvements that are underway right now to improve stormwater capacity in that area. The village obtained a piece of property from the Park District to enable more stormwater storage for that neighborhood. And in order to move forward that, we're consolidating the subject property into one lot. And all of the necessary public hearings and steps have been undertaken. The board approved this preliminarily at March 1st, and tonight we're looking for final approval of this process.
Right. Yeah. Noting there was unanimous approval from the Plan Commission. as well. So any questions or comments from the board?
Move approval.
Is there a second? Yeah, motion to approve by trustee Tinaglia, seconded by trustee Schwingbeck. Any other questions or comments from the board or from the audience? Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee Tinaglia,
Yes.
trustee Schwingbeck,
Yes.
trustee Bertucci,
Yes.
trustee Grassi,
Yes.
trustee Scaletta,
Yes.
trustee Baldino,
Yes.
trustee Canty,
Yes.
trustee LaBedz,
Yes.
President Hayes.
Yes. Moving on then to legal, we do have two items to consider regarding the property at Arlington Park. And so I call on Mr. Recklaus.
Sure, thank you, Mayor. Both of these items relate to the pending closure and sale of the Arlington International Racecourse property. Obviously, this is a significant piece of property both for our community and for the entire region. And since it's the announcement of its pending sale, we've been doing some research and taking some initial steps to set the stage for potential redevelopment. And we've been working closely with the property owner and the broker that they've hired. What we'd like to recommend this evening is the area is currently zone B3, and there's the underlying zoning of that lot really is not conducive to the high quality, one of a kind type of development that the village would like to see occur there. And so we are proposing a resolution that would discuss some general parameters applicable to zoning regulations for the track. This is really kind of a table setting for future changes to the village's code to reflect the types of land uses that the village would like to see on the property. All it does is it puts prospective purchasers and the public on notice that the village intends to make changes to zoning, subdivision, or other regulations. And it's kind of basically stating that we're considering making changes. I don't know if Mr. Perkins has anything further to talk, or Mr. Passman have anything further they'd like to mention in this item, but that's the basic concept.
Mayor and board members, if I can just add a couple of things. There is a draft overlay zoning district, and we do have several overlay zoning districts in the community already. South Arlington Heights Road is one example. And it starts setting some kind of general high-level parameters of the quality and type of development that we'd like to see there. It kind of makes it clear that we want to see a master plan development for the property, and also talks about some modifications to the subdivision code to preclude the exemptions that are in the subdivision code. So right now, the subdivision code would exempt any subdivisions that are 5 acres or greater, or a partial exemption of 1 acre or less. And we just don't want to see and would not recommend piecemeal selling off or subdivision of the property until a developer's put together a comprehensive master plan for the property. Whether that still includes horse racing still remains to be seen, and that's the second item that's on the agenda. And there are also a number of uses in the B3 district that are probably uses that we don't want to see there. And even though those uses are listed as potential for being prohibited, that doesn't mean down the road that the village board, when there's a plan that's acceptable, could make some changes and allow some of those uses. But right now we're just saying these are some uses that initially we don't want to see. For example, we don't want to see the entire site be a warehouse distribution site. Maybe down the road, there's a couple areas on the west side that make sense for that if we have an approved master plan. So it just kind of sets the stage for that. And the next step, if the board were to approve this tonight, would be for us to post a public hearing, and the Plan Commission would hold that public hearing and then discuss this in detail and make recommendations to the village board, where it would come back to the board for your consideration again to actually make those changes to the code.
All right, thanks, Charles. Mr. Passman, anything to add?
I just want to illuminate that last point that Director Perkins stated, because I think it's important. At its most basic level, this resolution is direction to the Plan Commission to take on the study of these topics. The detail that staff has provided in the resolution is not meant to be a fait accompli by any means, but it's meant to indicate, as the manager said, to the public and to any potential buyer of this property, that these are the things the village is thinking about. And as with any amendment to the village's zoning code or the village's zoning map, there will be an opportunity for a full public hearing before the Plan Commission. And then that recommendation will come before this board in the future for its review and ultimate decision. So I thought it was important that the board understand and the public understand this is the first step in the deliberative process that may yield some changes in the village's official zoning treatment of the racecourse property.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Passman. And just for clarification, we do have two items that we will need to consider and vote on tonight, both the resolution and the ordinance. I just think they both make sense. It really is incumbent upon us as a diligent village that has 326 acres of prime real estate up for sale within our borders, that we take all necessary actions and precautions to ensure that a high-quality development is redeveloped there. And so I'm certainly in favor of both the resolution and the ordinance, but would open it up to the village board for questions or comments. Trustee Schwingbeck.
Thank you, Mayor. Hart, this might be a question for you. On that list of proposed prohibited uses, I'm assuming that at some point down the road, then we can add to that list if we want? Or
yes, absolutely. This is not by any means set in stone, Trustee Schwingbeck. This was, this list represented those uses that are currently allowed in the B3 district, but that, at least as staff's first pass thought, may be inappropriate for an overlay that applies specific to the racecourse property.
Okay.
Through the process, the Plan Commission, then this board, and I would say if you know of one right now, certainly we can make that part of the direction of the Plan Commission, but at a minimum, when this comes back to you, if there are other parts of the existing B3 zoning that this board thinks should be different in the overlay, that can absolutely be worked into any final amendments.
Well, and all I was thinking about, not knowing what's going to happen with the property. You know, right now everything is on the table, and the list is a good list. I was thinking when I first looked at this, not knowing what was going to go there, is putting like cannabis on that list. But if it can be modified at some later point in time.
Right now, I believe, and Director Perkins can confirm, I don't think cannabis is allowed right now in the B3 anyway.
Okay.
So it would be prohibited right now in the racetrack regardless.
Okay.
But certainly that's something that can be evaluated, any particular prohibition that should be imposed in the overlay.
All right, thank you.
All right, Trustee Baldino.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for your comments earlier about this resolution and the ordinance makes sense. I agree. I was particularly glad to see item F in the resolution stating a preference for sustainable development. I just had a question though. Was there any discussion had at any point about bicycle and pedestrian paths? Because we have the Metro stop there, and if you look at the bicycle and pedestrian plan, there are planned routes around the current property, both in the Arlington Heights bicycle and pedestrian plan and in the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning. There's two different routes that are planned. And so I'm not even sure that this is the appropriate time to ask this question, but I was just curious if that idea ever came up and was part of the discussion.
If I could, Trustee, go ahead, Charles.
So Trustee Baldino, in discussions with interested developers and investor groups, we have talked about continuing the bike path that runs along Salt Creek to the south through the property. That could be a natural amenity. That creek in certain areas is culverted and covered. It could be reintroduced as a natural feature, natural element with a larger redevelopment opportunity. And then, of course, providing, more direct connection from, any of the site to the train station, if there is transit-oriented development around there. All of those would be things that we would be looking for in a master plan.
Okay, great. And that, I think that coupled with like I said, the sustainable development and the preference for preservation of some green space, I think that is right along the lines of what I was thinking. Thank you very much, and thank you, Mayor, for the time.
Okay. Trustee Canty.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So going along with Trustee Baldino, those were some of my concerns as well. Increasing and improving pedestrian and bicycle access. One of the concerns that I have, and I'm hopeful that we can kind of guide the Planning Commission and hopefully the seller of the property as well, is whatever happens to the property, that it's a sort of not mirror, but kind of be consistent with what we're trying to accomplish in the downtown, and also provide ease of access for folks from the northern part of town, right? So finding ways to get over those tracks that are pedestrian and bicycle friendly, and to get from this site to the downtown and vice versa, so that they're kind of working together and becoming a more cohesive area of town. And again, I don't know if this is the exact right place to do that, but it's one of the things that I want to make sure we're considering.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments from the board before we go to the audience? Trustee Tinaglia.
Thanks, Mayor. Just a real quick comment. I want to just thank Randy and Charles for being all over this. This is something that, as I said earlier tonight, is an important component of our job here as trustees over the next several years. We can't do enough to do two things: protect what is already in play there, 326 acres of prime real estate, as Mayor Hayes said. So protecting it with these kinds of ordinances and language and directions is critical toward making the path go the right direction. And then later on, once somebody is engaged and ready to roll, for us to participate in that with them, in holding hands and embracing and getting the very, very best solution at the end of the day here. Anything less than the best, in my opinion, is going to be a loss. So really anxious and excited to see things happen. And I trust that Randy and Charles are the right guys to get that all started for us. So thank you for doing this.
I want to credit our village attorney as well, Mr.
That's
Passman,
right.
for being very involved in this effort. And so it's a team effort, but certainly our village attorney has been extensively involved in both the suggestion and the development of these, the resolution and the ordinance. So thank you, Mr. Passman, as well. Other questions or comments from the board before we go to the audience? Trustee Scaletta.
Thank you, Mayor. So it became apparent over the years that Churchill Downs has lost their passion for horse racing in Illinois. When Churchill Downs bought into Rivers Casino, many in the community, including myself, thought that there was an opportunity for Rivers Casino to stop the prevention of Arlington Park getting additional gaming to support their efforts with horse racing. And that did not come true. And, you know, as a reminder, because I think that many people forget this, because I've had to remind some people who talk about that the village never really took a position on gaming at the track. In May of 2011, this village board supported a letter to the legislature to acknowledge the fact that Arlington Park was very important to this community, and that additional gaming was important to the viability of Arlington Park. And while the governor back then decided to expand gaming by adding slots everywhere he could in every restaurant and cafe in the state, they did not pass gaming at Arlington Park or any of the tracks in the state of Illinois. Fast forward to a couple years ago, when they did pass legislation, Churchill Downs found that it was not favorable to their position. And it's unfortunate because the track is so important to our village for many different reasons, including our identity, that I don't want to see the track go away. But that's not up to me. It's up to whoever purchases the property. But I think it's important to leave the door open that it could possibly remain a track, because there's so many people who want to see horse racing continue, not only in the state of Illinois, but across our country. and hopefully somebody will come to Arlington Heights with a desire to continue horse racing. But if not, we've at least laid the groundwork of what it is that we are not looking for. And hopefully they come with a development that will be beneficial to the village of Arlington Heights, because it is a very important piece of our property and is accessible in many different ways. 53, Metra. So love the track. Would love to see it continue, but that's not Churchill Downs' intention at this time. But I appreciate what Manager Recklaus, the mayor, and our attorney and Charles have come forward with tonight, because I think it's important to the viability of that property in Arlington Heights. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Scaletta. Anything else from the board? Seeing none, I'll go to the audience. We do have one hand raised, and that's Melissa Kayer. Melissa?
Hello, I ran by there about a month ago and I didn't see a for sale sign up there. How did you find out about the sale?
Well, it was the worst kept secret, Melissa. I think anyone who read the newspapers or any kind of media source, television, the sale was all over that. So I don't know that they needed to put up a for sale sign, but certainly the word is out that the property is for sale. All right, Sean, the next is Sean Stevens. And let me just remind everyone that we are enforcing the 3-minute time limit for comments as well. So, Mr. Stevens.
Hello. I live across the street from the track, and it's been there for 93 years, 94 years. Just wondering what the plans are to continue it going. Like, what are the options? I know Churchill Downs has the final say, or has to say who they sell it to, but is there anything that can be done to kind of continue the tradition, the history? You know, it's something you don't want to just tear down. It's one of the most beautiful tracks in the country, world renowned. Is it something you guys want to see continue, or, you know, is that not on your, you know, what are your thoughts?
Well, everyone has their own opinion, but certainly, you know, we've all stated that in the public and various sources of the media. I think our sources is to put the property to its highest and best use, but everything remains on the table. But we also are taking these actions this evening to ensure that the possibility of horse racing remains on the table. So, so nothing is excluded at this point other than certain uses that we don't want to see there.
Right. Like, we don't want, you know, another Amazon warehouse or anything of that, you know, something that families can use, maybe a park or something. Is that, I mean, that's all on the table, correct?
Right. We don't want to see, and that's one of the things in the prohibited uses here is warehouses and storage facilities and things like that. But, you know, 326 acres, you wouldn't necessarily want it to just be a kid's playground. So we thank you for your comments, but everything remains on the table.
Very good.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Mort, you're going to have to give us your full name if you would.
Name's Mort Hart.
Go ahead.
Well, my question is, how does rezoning this dissuade other potential buyers? You know, if I was an investor and I saw that you guys are rezoning a piece of property to, you know, try and meet your needs, I don't know if I'd invest.
Mr. Reckless, you want to address that?
Sure. You know, what we're trying to do is, you know, let's say someone wanted to purchase the property to put adult uses or warehouses or something like that. We're kind of signaling our intent that that's not something that the village would like to see happen. If someone
But you have to understand that it doesn't come off that way.
If I can finish, that's what the rezoning is what, you know, as the mayor indicated, Churchill Downs, the owner of the property, they can sell it to whomever they want. But we have the ability to say that certain uses are prohibited. And what we're signifying is that this first step is to, put the purchasing community on notice that, certain things are going to be things that we aren't going to allow. And those are the things that are outlined on that list. Other things, we want to see what the market may bear, but there's certain things that as a community, we're not interested in discussing.
One of the things that I just would like to lay out is that in the media, and if you read certain articles, it's not coming across like that. And I think that's a big risk that maybe needs to be considered by the village. And maybe better discussions with Churchill Downs and the thoroughbred community to try and resolve an issue, to either take a stance one way or the other. Because some of it is feeling like you guys are talking out of both sides of the mouth, where, yeah, we want to keep it, but then we're also going around another door to rezone it because we want to make, like you're almost forcing it from a legal standpoint. And as an investor, I would be very worried to make a purchase.
Mr. Hart. You've reached your time limit, but thank you for your questions, and we certainly understand where you're coming from, but I think we respectfully disagree that the actions we're taking this evening are going to dissuade investors that are really serious about this property. We're trying to just attract really serious investors that want to redevelop this very prime piece of real estate into something that's befitting of our community and the region. So that's what our intentions are this evening. So thank you for your comments. Any other comments from the audience? All right, seeing none, we'll go back to the board for further discussion or motions. We do need separate motions, first on the resolution and then on the ordinance. Trustee Baldino.
Thank you, Mayor. I would move that the board approve the proposed Arlington International Racecourse resolution.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Baldino, seconded by Trustee LaBedz. Further questions or comments from the board or from the audience? Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee Baldino?
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz?
Yes.
Trustee Canty?
Yes.
Trustee Bertucci?
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck?
Yes.
Trustee Grassi?
Yes.
Trustee Tinaglia?
Yes.
Trustee Scaletta?
Yes.
President Hayes?
Yes. And how about motion for the ordinance?
Mayor, if I could, we haven't really discussed the ordinance. If I could if we could introduce it a bit.
Sure, go ahead.
This one is a little bit different. What this one relates to is at times private property owners who are intent on selling land can place restrictive covenants on their property that would prohibit certain land uses forever. So even though they would no longer own the property, they could say, future owners could never put a certain type of use on the property forever and ever. Given the importance of this property and given that, we want to make sure that the possibility of horse racing can continue on this site. We don't know if there's a market for it. We don't know if there's going to be interest from a serious interest from other buyers for horse racing. But given that long history, we want to make sure there's nothing that the village is doing all it can do to preserve the option of horse racing being part of this site going forward in the future with future property owners. And so what the action we're recommending tonight is enacting an ordinance that would prohibit the placement of the type of private restrictive covenants on this property specifically in the area of gaming. But it would prohibit the placement of a restrictive private covenant on this property for board consideration. The idea behind this, again, is to keep all of our options on the table. Other communities have enacted these types of ordinances in the past, including Buffalo Grove and Schaumburg nearby and the city of Chicago regionally. And so we would recommend that the village board approve this proposed ordinance prohibiting restrictive covenants concerning gaming uses.
All right, Trustee Canty.
Thank you. Randy, Charles, Hart, I appreciate all the work that went into this ordinance. I especially like that, though it's going to be a broader ordinance, we have something in mind, and we've left in the carve out for some special circumstances. So I very much appreciate that, and appreciate you kind of looking ahead, trying to cover all of our bases with this ordinance and the instructions that we kind of went through in the motion before. So I'm happy to make a motion at the appropriate time.
Okay, Trustee Bertucci.
Thank you, Mayor. Just again confirming what I'm hearing Randy, Village Manager Recklaus say, and in concern to the previous caller, this in fact is doing just what the concern was. This in fact is saying we are preserving the ability to, if we should get an investor who wants to either retain the track the way it is and or bring horse racing still to the property, we're preventing Churchill Downs from basically saying that it never can be sold because they're concerned for some competition that might happen to Rivers. So in fact, this is exactly addressing the concern of the caller. And I believe I heard that's what heard you say that, Rand, and I just want to confirm that.
Trustee Bertucci, that's exactly correct. Whereas the last resolution kind of reiterated there are some uses that the village is not interested in pursuing, this one makes it clear that we want to preserve the option of gaming uses that the property owner themselves cannot prevent them from being considered sometime in the future.
Okay, we had another question, Trustee LaBedz.
Thank you, Mayor Hayes. Actually, Trustee Bertucci took the words right out of my mouth. And I want to say I agree with both him and Trustee Canty. This is a very important resolution that we really need to pass. I think, sometimes when you think it's about something at its most basic level, it's kind of like the grocery store that gets abandoned by its grocer, and yet they put a restriction, the space can't be filled with any other grocery store. Well, we want to make sure that when this property is sold, that there is still a possibility of horse racing here. It's such a beautiful site, as other callers said, it's world renowned, and I think that this is very important, and I do support it.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, anything from the audience? All right, we do need a motion to approve the ordinance.
I'll make the motion.
By Trustee Canty, seconded by Trustee Scaletta. If no further questions or comments, roll call.
Trustee Canty?
Yes.
Trustee Scaletta?
Yeah.
Trustee Grassi?
Yes.
Trustee Baldino?
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz?
Yes.
Trustee Bertucci?
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck?
Yes.
Trustee Tinaglia?
Yes.
President Hayes?
Yes. Well, thank you again to Mr. Recklaus, Mr. Perkins, and Mr. Passman for their good work in getting us to this point in the long process that this is going to be. But thank you for your good work. There are no other legal items, so we'll move to the report of the village manager. Mr. Recklaus, anything?
Nothing further this evening, Mayor.
Okay. Anything from the board under petitions and communications? All right. Congratulations to the new board members, Trustee Grassi and Trustee Bertucci. You made it through your first board meeting. We didn't give you too tough a one this evening, and hopefully we didn't scare you off. But we'll give one of you an opportunity to make the motion to adjourn.
I will move to adjourn.
And seconded by Trustee Grassi. There we go. Motion by Trustee Bertucci, seconded by Trustee Grassi. Roll call.
Trustee Bertucci?
Yes.
Trustee Grassi?
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz?
Yes.
Trustee Scaletta?
Yes.
Trustee Tinaglia?
Yes.
Trustee Canty?
Yes.
Trustee Baldino?
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck?
Yes.
President Hayes?
Yes. Well, thank you all for joining us this evening and enjoy the rest of your night. Good night,
night.
everybody.
Good
Thank you all.
night.
Good night.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.